This YouTube channel might look like a YouTube channel where we only talk about books. And that's mostly true. I do recommend a lot of books and talk about books I love and hate. But there has also been dark times when I've talked about cheese graters. The reason I'm bringing this up is that I've not always been a reader, and in this video I thought I'd speak about what has helped me read more books. So the first thing that has helped is choosing the smaller books. So this book is very small, and I would urge you to start with smaller books just to get into the habit of reading and also feel accomplished in finishing books early or just having read books. You can read this book that takes about half an hour or an hour and you can say, I've read a book, which feels too gratifying, some would say. At least I would say. My second tip is to base your picks on a hobby you already have or an interest. For me, that's music, and I guess it's not that easy to translate music into written art form, but I know that I love everything about music and everything surrounding music, so reading memoirs from musicians, I really love. Also, I figured out I love memoirs in general, which helped me read even more books. I also, when I started reading more books, try to find funny books, but there are very few books that market themselves as funny. It's more like this book is also quite humorous at times. So rather try to find out what is it that makes books interesting for you. To me, my biggest epiphany earlier in my reading career was that I do love plot-driven books, stories. And I guess it's weird looking back now, thinking that, well, the story aspect was important to me, but that did happen. And I still sometimes forget that, so it's important to remember. My next tip is to embrace your favorite authors. So if you find one author that you absolutely love, just buy all of the books from that said author and devour them. So it's no shame reading all of the books from one author like back to back. You don't need to take breaks. If that is what keeps you going, motivated and happy, just read all the books from that author. At the moment, I'm really afraid that Murakami will stop writing books, die, something like that, and I will run out of books. But you could always reread books if you really like them, of course. It's like watching a movie. Again, only more time consuming and more fun, I would say, if you really love that book. Also, when it comes to favorite authors, if you read a bunch of shorter novels, after a while you will find a novel you love and then you can buy the larger book from that said author and things will be great. For the most part. There will be bumps in the road, and which leads me to my next point, and that is that everyone takes breaks from reading, or as good as everyone takes breaks from reading books. So even if you read 100 books a year, you might feel unmotivated to read books, which is normal, but it doesn't feel normal. I've never felt like not reading books is like comfortable. I'm always a bit stressed and I feel like I have to find my next read. But I know that everyone goes through this phase. And I try to comfort myself with those words from my inner monologue. Then it's time to talk about tracking your goals and your books. And this, I would say, differs a lot from person to person. I am one of those who love statistics. I love looking back at the books I've read. I love taking pictures with myself and my books once a year just to see what amount of books I've read, which is really superficial, really dumb, and really enjoyable, to me at least. So I do recommend like keeping track of the books you've read if you're interested. I do think it can help. I've had reading goals of 12 books. I've had reading goals of 100 books. And everything I found enjoyable in some sense. But reading 100 books a year for me was stressful. So you can see what makes you want to read more books or what keeps you motivated. Either way, you can brag about your statistics to all of your friends because statistically you've read more books than them, I guess. Before we continue this video, if you have a good suggestion for what people could do to read more books or find more enjoyment in them, please comment this below. The next thing I thought I'd speak about is reading books in your native language. I'm Norwegian, so I speak mostly Norwegian day to day, and I think buying English books in Norway is a lot cheaper than buying Norwegian books, which made me read more English books than I thought I'd initially would. This could be a good thing, of course, learning more words, bragging about reading in English, but also it's a bit harder, so it's not that much difficult mostly, but sometimes it's a bit more difficult, and that makes you, or me, not want to pick up the book as often. It doesn't matter as much now as it did before, but starting out I thought it's all the same, but it's for the motivational part of my brain it's really not, and I read quicker in Norwegian, of course, which makes my statistics go up and everything's a blissful porridge or something like that. Then we go over to get yourself new friends, or at least try to find people that also enjoy books. I found when I started out that several of my friends enjoyed reading books, but they never talked about that part of their lives with me because why should they? And I do get that. If they don't have anyone to spar with, if it's just a monologue about the book you've read and the other part isn't all that into it, it's not interesting at all. But when you yourself read books, people around you get more interested in what you have to say about books. And it's really just the fuel to the fire when it comes to discovering new books and also discovering new sides of your friends, which is sometimes enjoyable. Something I also rediscovered this week was that buying books could make you enjoy your reads more. So this was the pile that I got in my mail yesterday, and it reignited my reading spirit. So if I go for a longer time without buying books or looking for new books, it might feel like you're stuck in some sense. So getting new books, smelling new books, and thinking about the stories that you're going to read, at least it helped me reignite my reading spirits. So buying a book to get a little push in the right direction really helps sometimes. Even though my goal is to have less than 100 unread books this year, I still feel the urge to buy books. Then I just have to get rid of more books that I haven't read. So that's still ongoing. It's a long time until New Year's, I'm telling myself. Which ties in nicely with my last point, and that is to DNF books. DNF all of the time, every book you want to. Even though you bought a new book that wasn't good, it sucked, well, just get rid of it. Give it to a friend and let them suffer. And if they like it, unfriend that person. Or just give that book to a stranger and let them suffer, I guess. Anyway, just don't read books that you don't like, I guess is the essence of this. It's no point. As mentioned before, if you have suggestions for what people could do to read more books or to pick up one book, please leave them below. If you have book recommendations, also please leave them below. And to all of you that have subscribed to this channel lately, welcome aboard. And I hope you all have a terrific weekend, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!